Shalom Yashrala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation, much love for you. I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump to this here article real quick, which is, how do I put it? It's pretty telling of the times that we're living in. All right, you're starting to see that, as the Most High is putting in this here work. All right, and casting out judgment. All right, this one here says, here's why simply living in the U.S. is likely to reduce your life expectancy. All right, and this is one of the things that most people aren't really talking about. But when you put together a lot of these different news stories about a lot of these different things that's going on here in Babylon, I spoke about this. I believe it was last week or the week before at camp. That basically you have the Edomite life expectancy rate is dropping off. All right, they've already been at like a 0% population growth rate, but now you're talking about and that's just dealing with the children that's being born, more or less to say. A lot less of these Edomites are actually getting pregnant and having children. They're struggling with that. But now this here article goes into the ones that are actually being born. So it says, here's why simply living in the U.S. is likely to reduce your life expectancy. It says the average American lifespan keeps getting shorter, even as comparable rich countries rebound and recover after the pandemic. It says, recently NPR in the U.S. published a story titled "Live Free and Die: The Sad State of the U.S. Life Expectancy" that explored the great divide between the U.S. and peer countries on life expectancy. It says, while most countries experienced a dip during the pandemic and rebound after that word we can't talk about, and other treatments were rolled out, American life expectancy has essentially fallen off a cliff and never came back. All right, and we spoke about this as well too with the again, this is dealing with we're speaking on how they say death by despairs and things like that. But then now we have all these different calamities that's going on that account for a lot more of these different numbers. It's not just that these people are just offing themselves, all right, or people not being born. All right, it says while most countries we just read that. It says the graph published by NPR is shocking. It shows that the U.S. life expectancy is lower than Cuba or Lebanon. And that's crazy. Cuba, they have those heavy sanctions on them, man. All right. It says the number has been known since before Christmas, when health officials announced that the life expectancy has dropped starkly for the second year in a row to 76 years. However, last week, more bad news arrived after the CDC announced that maternal mortality in the country reached a high in 2021. Another paper in the Journal of American Medical Association found rising mortality rates among U.S. children and adolescents. This means you can't blame the pandemic exclusively for the drop in life expectancy and assume it will jump right back up as soon as the pandemic is finally dealt with. That's one of the things that we can't really speak about. But hey, after that fact, there was a lot of people that took something, when it was time to care for your kids. But again, this isn't necessarily just speaking about that, because they speak about other situations in here. All right, it says the rate of maternal deaths in 2021 was 32.9 deaths per 100,000 live births, which were more than 10 times higher than some other high-income countries, including Australia, Austria, Israel, Japan, Spain, which all had rates between 2 and 3 deaths per 100,000. Now, again, these are not the children that these people can't produce and get pregnant with. These are the children that are actually being born, right? It says regarding children's increased mortality rate, Stephen Wolf, the lead author of the JAMA paper and director emeritus of the Center on Society and Health at Virginia Commonwealth University, put it quite scrutiny. It says, this is the first time in my career that I have seen an increase in pediatric mortality. It has always been declining in the U.S. for as long as I can remember. Now it's increasing at a magnitude that has not occurred for at least half a century. All right. It says the paper notes that this goes far beyond the stereotypes of Americans having poor eating habits or other unhealthy addictions. All right. And so, they always say, oh, well, we're living in a time now, there's the argument to, all these women having issues having birth and everything else like that. But the other flip side of the argument is, oh, look how far we advanced with medical technologies, and more women aren't dying because of the births. It's like, well, which side is it? Is it more, you have these women that are dying because of them trying to give birth? All right. Or is it that less women are dying because, the modern advances in medical technology and things like that? All right. But they saying here, with all this modern technology and everything else, and not to mention, we're not counting up like people with their health problems, obesity and stuff like that. No, 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 something different going on here. It says, it continues stating that even Americans with healthy behaviors, for example, those who are not obese or do not smoke, appear to have higher disease rates than their peers in other countries. All right, so something definitely is going on here in Babylon the Great, man. Not to mention the foods that you eat, not to say the unhealthy foods, but the so-called healthy foods that you claim to be eating. All right, isn't what you think that it is, man. Not to mention, you getting how they say, we can say fumigated with things being sprayed on you, things. Well, they'll talk about the water and everything else like that, but nevertheless, it says researchers catalog what they've described as a U.S. health disadvantage, which essentially means that just living in the country is worse for your health and makes you die younger than other comparable countries. And one of the things that they don't mention in this article is these kids growing up on social media and the depression that they get, and they want to offer themselves. But again, this don't really speak about that. This speaks about other factors, right? So it says, given the recent environmental disasters in East Palestine, Ohio, where droves of carcinogenic chemicals were allowed to burn freely in the air and deposit into the soil, this may also be part of the explanation. This incident has also impacted major metropolitan areas in my hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. In reality, this thing here just happened way too soon for the numbers to really hit the charts and stuff like that. But other things comparable to this, because this isn't the first thing that's been going on. This is the first major thing that most majority of Americans have heard about, because they don't really look into a lot of these different things like that. But it says, additionally, right now, residents of one of the largest American cities, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, are being told to drink bottled water because more than 8,000 gallons of latex finish solution spilled into the Otter Creek in Bristol near Philadelphia on March 24th. And that's not to mention you had a nuclear power plant that wound up leaking. Not to mention like Flint, Michigan, and their water supply. All right, and all these other places. I know of a place now where just knowing the population of the people there, and everybody all of a sudden got cancer out there. And what do they have upstream? They have a nuclear power plant, man. All right, so hey, this is nothing. You could look up. There's a term they call sacrifice cities. Look that up, sacrifice cities, man. All right, and you'll see, they got one, I think this in Texas and Louisiana, two big major ones. All right, but they have these sacrifice cities always around what? Jake neighborhoods, right? But it says, and now what? Look what's happening to these Edomites, right? It says, perhaps the most baffling statistic, at least for non-Americans, is that since 2020, gunfire has been the leading cause of death for children and young adults in the U.S., surpassing even car crashes, which had previously topped the list. Almost 20% of all deaths of Americans aged 1 to 18 who died in the past 3 years were gun related. All right. Compared to other countries in the organization, the U.S. is the only country where guns are the leading cause of death for people at this age bracket. No other nation even has it on the top 4. So, hey, again, I spoke about this not too long ago about these damn Edomites, going to school. That's the biggest threat now, right? You send your kid to school and other Edomites take them out. I think it was last week or the week before, one of those weeks I was speaking about this. Like, look, man, we don't got to worry about, Esau ain't really got to worry about Jake putting their hands on them. You got to worry about sending your kid to school with other Edomites in the Edomite only school, right? Like out there where, what was it, in Tennessee, I believe it was, or Nashville, where that situation just recently happened. All right, Edomites on Edomite crimes, man. All right. It says, be it stereotypical bad eating habits and epidemic obesity, increasingly frequent environmental disasters, or the scourge of gun violence, there's indeed a disadvantage to simply existing in the U.S. Not to mention that everything you've been told is all a lie here, everything else like that. Then one day people wake up and they go mad, right? It says, a consequence, as I can attest, more and more young Americans are looking to settle down in other countries. And just think about that. You have all these different channels like they got that dude, Andrew Tate apparently is out of jail now, but you have these different channels that speak to these folks. Like even when Kevin Samuels was alive, right? You had these women that was calling in, and one of the things that you see sometimes happen, you see both sides of the field, because you got some of these other women that are arguing for their, right to do all these different things. But then you also see some of these women who've already been down that path, and they call into these shows, and then they start breaking down because they've realized like they have a term to hit the wall, or they've been lied to and messed up their life and all these different things, and life is just wrong for them. But that's just women and them being exposed about these things. But what about the rest of the population being, you've been lied to about a lot of different things, man. Some people have been, these Edomites are waking up to the fact that, that's why they're trying to take that CTR out of school, that, they were so holy and saints the whole time. But now they're looking at their history of where they come from, their forefathers come from, and the things that they wound up doing, man. All right, you look at some of the things that you've been lied to about your whole life. You go to these doctors and they wind up giving you stuff. You find out, man, the doctor wound up giving me that, man. All right, these folks wind up giving me these things, and people wind up snapping and cracking, man. All right, and then they just what they call go postal after all these things, especially with this economic downturn, man. All right, a lot of these people are coming home. You've seen a lot of vile things going on over what economics. A lot of these people losing their jobs and things like that, man. And we talking about with the Edomites. We ain't talking about Jake. Jake used to losing their damn job. That ain't nothing new to Jake. These Edomites are coming home and poisoning their spouses and the food to get the life insurance just so that they can continue on living and everything else like that, man. So hey, this is taking a toll on these damn Edomites, man, as they're losing their kingdom. All right. It says, I can attest more and more young Americans are looking to settle down in other countries rather than wait for lawmakers to actually do something to protect the people from these dangers. And like I said, it's funny that when things like this start cracking up for Edomites, look what they talking about, moving out, going to other places, seeking help. But look, all the things that's just now starting to affect the Edomites have been happening to Jake for the longest time in their neighborhoods, man. These smash and grabs in these stores, all these is happening in Edomite neighborhoods, man. Jake's stores been getting robbed and held up to the point to where it became normalized, so they stopped robbing the stores, or they own people like, look, bro, we ain't robbing the store no more type of shit, man. All right, but now the Edomites and shit, they getting their businesses robbed. Their businesses are getting, their downtown areas are getting destroyed, becoming ghettos and stuff like that. Now they're looking at, hey, what happened to our country? It's all going down the drain. You talk to some of these damn older Edomites and ask them how they feel about the society, man. I go to quite a few clients, and when I go to their houses, what do they have on? The sad old American media news letting them know about the downfall of their kingdom, man. All right, all they're hearing is these so-called bad stories telling them about how their kingdom is going down, and you can see it all in their countenance, man. They're all down and depressed, man. All right. It says, in the end, whether it is Republicans sounding an alarm over opioid crisis or the rise in drug deaths, or Democrats shouting themselves hoarse about the need for stricter gun laws to curb the disastrous gun death stats, what most of them are interested in first and foremost is scoring points against each other, actually helping their constituents come to an afterthought. And hey, this is again, in reality, they're more worried about lining their pockets than the rest of you Americans, because who's actually pushing this here pain out onto the population of the people? All right, it's Edomites pushing this out on the other Edomites. You're talking about, oh, well, taxes is going up, the economy is collapsing. Well, who the fuck is collapsing the economy? Who is selling all these different things out? We can speak about, just the raise of or crumbling the economy. Who's in charge of all this shit? It ain't Jake. It ain't us that's doing all these things. We're not the ones sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine to line the pockets of the politicians and things like that. Oh, they're saying it's going over there for the military budget, but then when you really look at where it's broken down to, it's broken down for research and development, which goes back into their pockets anyway. Never even make it over to Ukraine. It just goes into these politicians' pockets, man. But then the taxes go up, and then people are sitting over here working their whole life and complaining about how they can't make a living for themselves, and they wind up going and offing themselves, man. All right, or offing their kids, man. All right, so hey, this is all Edomites on Edomites. Their own schemes is their own downfall, man, causing all these things to happen. But let's grab a couple scriptures real quick. I'm not gonna make this too long. I want to grab Job. Well, we'll come back to Job. Matthew. Was it Matthew? No, it's Isaiah. Isaiah 14:21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. And this is what you're starting to see happen. All right. And again, we don't have to do anything to them. All right. The Most High is doing all these things, man. All right. So, hey, he have the Edomites taking out the Edomites right about now, man. All right. It sounds all sad and everything else like that, but this is the reality of it. Remember what they used to say about us, right? Remember they used to, when the talk of slavery came up, they say, oh, well, your own, that's in the scriptures as well, but nevertheless, that's a whole nother topic. But, their own shepherds pity them not. You know what I'm saying? They hold themselves not guilty about these things, right? They're like, hey, y'all people sold y'all own people into slavery. Don't blame us with it. That's their argument. More black people was the most slave owners than white people. Black people own more slaves than white folks. Black people sold their own people into slavery. We're the victims. We were just over here. They forced us to be slave owners. All that bullshit. But now look at what's going on right about now, man. All right, their own people are killing their own people off. Now, let's just say hypothetically in a really super carnal sense, we was to go on further in the time and everything else like that, man. All right, you would see what's going on. This is a transition of their kingdom is decaying. Well, actually, this is actually what's gonna it's gonna accelerate a lot more. That's what I'm saying. In a more carnal thing because the Lord's gonna step in. But hey, their kingdom is collapsing around them, man. All right, it's gonna be nothing left of them. They're destroying themselves. But ultimately, the Lord is gonna destroy these Edomites, man. All right. Verse 22, for I will, and ultimately, let's just put it that way. The Lord is destroying them. Not he's going to, he is destroying them. He is the one putting spirits on them to do all these things. All right. Like the scriptures speak about, there be spirits created for vengeance. So when you see that these little kids wake up one day and they go and they lay out the whole damn school, and that's the Lord putting that spirit on them, man, to fulfill this here prophecy, man. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers. All right. That they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the faces of the world with cities. For I will rise up against it. It's not killing off the old folks where the young folks are still being born. No, the disease, the pestilence, the sword, all these things are killing off the young folks so that they don't, repopulate, right? It says, for I will rise up against them, saying the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant and the son and the nephew, saith Yahweh. So that whole seed line is being cut off, all right? Job 27:14 says, if his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. All right. So, hey, going into his children being multiplied, yeah, ultimately when they go into war, they're not going to come back. But right now they're being multiplied. It's the children that's being taken out by the sword at massive numbers right about now. All right, all these people that's getting gunned down in these what they call mass shootings and everything else like that. Hey, the biggest casualty in all these mass shootings for the most part is children. All right, Edomite children at that, man. They like to talk about how violent Jake is and all the black on black crime and the gangs and all this and that. But see, what you don't hear about on the news is a bunch. Now, you do hear there are some stories, but they don't cover these things because when Jake be having these shootings, even though Jake have mass shootings damn near every weekend, our situations be completely different. You might be at the nightclub and one Jake step on another Jake's shoes and then he go and shoot at this one dude, but the club gets shot up. That's not a mass shooting because he know who he shooting. It's not just some random shit. Esau come to school because he didn't get his little oatmeal that morning and he shoot up the whole school randomly, right? There's a difference with these things, man. Jake be in the hood having drive-bys and gang shootings, but it's targeted to just those people in those areas in that one little spot, right? Just like you can say the cartel has issues, but the cartel only fucking really with the cartel, man. All right, it's not really like everybody else is getting it and everything else like that. But with Esau, you could be at the mall, you could be at a goddamn Christmas, what they call Christmas parade or Christmas event. You could be in church. You could be anywhere, grocery store, school, wherever you just think you safe or just minding your own business. And Esau go in there and start letting off, man. All right, and again, who is he basically targeting? All right, these children right about now, man. All right, Esau's doing all those things, man, on his own accord. His children is the one doing all these things, man. His little gremlins is growing up becoming demons nowadays, man. All right, just like how they speak about our communities. Oh, it's a bunch of kids killing kids out there with the gangbangers, because they all under a certain age anyway. It's not like you do have older gangbangers, but the majority of the ones killing each other, putting each other on T-shirts, is all the youth. But now you're starting to see this here curse, like Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7 say, these curses are going to be put onto our enemies. All right, so now they starting to see evil eyes, on their own brethren, man. All right, and it's spilling out onto their children. All right. This is Isaiah 24, all right? Because ultimately, well, let's just read it. Isaiah 24, and we'll start at 7. The new wine mourneth and the fine languish, and all the merry-hearted do sigh. They no longer have anything to be happy about. They see their kingdom, what they say, circling the drain. Everything is going downhill for them, all right? It says, the mirth of tabrets ceases, and the noise of them rejoiceth endeth, and the joy of the harp ceaseth, all right? And so now you're starting to see, especially, in these latter times, man, it's a lot of depression going on here in Babylon the Great, mainly for these damn Edomites, man. Jake is actually having a good time right about now because Jake, for the first time, is getting a little bit of something, them PPP loans and a little bit of cash money and everything. But Esau overall is losing out on a lot of things, man. All right, a lot of businesses are shutting down. A lot of you seeing like Microsoft, Apple, all these big companies laying off. You think Jake got them damn jobs? No, these are Edomites losing these jobs, man. 6-figure salaries and things like that. And when they 21, 25 and shit, like they're the ones losing all these things, and now they're feeling like big ass losers in their life. All right, what do you think that they're going to want to go and go do? All right, it says they shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. All right, and again, they in they're what they call death by despair. They're having sorrows right now. It says, the city of confusion is broken down and every house is shut up that no man may come in. And you have this what they're doing with the how you say, not the currency, but with the basically with the money, right? They're devaluing it as we speak, man. All right. It says there's a crying for wine in the streets, and all joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. The city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. And we're about to get even further into this with more of these bank collapses. The housing market is about to collapse. All right. All these young folks and took out, all these loans to get their first houses throughout the pandemic and everything else like that. The student loan, and they're still stuck with student loan debt. But all this here debt is about to pile up on them. And what do you think these Edomites are going to wind up doing? They ain't used to being in this kind of debt, not able to pay their way out. All the jobs is going away for them anyway. Because the jobs that's leaving is not like Jake jobs that's leaving. Jake be having these little bitty petty ass small jobs comparably to Esau. Like I said, you see in Apple, Microsoft, and all these different. Well, granted, you do have McDonald's losing some jobs. I think that was today or yesterday or something like that. But nevertheless, you seen a lot of these big major corporations laying off. All right, and who do you think have those jobs, man? All right, it's not the super older Edomites, nothing like that. These are the Edomites in the 20s and 30s and stuff like that that's losing their jobs. That's about to start families and things like that, or have young families already, man. All right, but don't know how to handle the pressure because they've been coddled, the snowflakes for so long, and now guess what? They're about to lose everything, man. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord, when the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation, much love for you. I keep pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.